Yesterday, the Oklahoma legislature passed a near total ban on abortions. The only exception is in the case of medical emergencies. The bill doesn't punish women who are seeking the abortion, just providers. It would make performing an abortion or attempting one a felony. It now heads to Republican Governor Kevin Stitt, who has indicated that he will sign it. Planned Parenthood says nearly half of the people seeking abortion in Oklahoma are from Texas. They predict more people will move up north to receive the care they need. Colorado just passed a law that guarantees the right to an abortion. It affirms the right to an abortion in state law, but does not change any access to abortions in Colorado. So our Line 9 News legal analyst Whitney Taylor is joining us now. This is so complicated. It's a lot to sort through. Yes. And we're hearing about more and more states making their own laws regarding this. And Colorado is kind of going the opposite direction as far as severely limiting abortion in our state and criminalizing those who perform abortions. So tell us what these all mean and which states are doing what.
Right. So a lot of states are actually making a move on abortion. So Colorado actually protected the right to an abortion and actually passed a law saying that a woman has a fundamental right to an abortion. The law also says, it was just passed a day or two ago, it says that a fetus, an embryo, they are not deemed a person, because there's some laws in Colorado that talk about the embryo and fetus and things of that being a person, and they get certain rights there as well. So Colorado actually went towards protecting it. Other states, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Texas, right, they're all putting these rather severe restrictions on abortions. In fact, Texas and Oklahoma, it's essentially outlawed it, because Texas says when you can detect a heartbeat, which can be at 6 weeks, and many women don't even know they're pregnant at the time. All of this is happening in anticipation of the Supreme Court making its ruling.
So there are two giant issues at stake here. One is abortion itself. The other is states' rights versus the federal law. What is eventually going to govern this more? Is it the issue strictly of abortion, or is it about what states can and can't do vis-a-vis what the federal government mandates?
Honestly, I think it's a little bit of both. The case that's actually before the Supreme Court, they had oral argument in December. That was the case out of Mississippi. What Mississippi does is it regulates abortions up to 15 weeks. And so the question now is, the Supreme Court is going to accept this case. It's now 6-3 conservative majority. And the question is, will they just limit it to the 15 weeks, or will they actually overturn Roe and Casey? And Roe in 1973 gave a woman, said it was a right to privacy. A woman has a fundamental right to an abortion. Casey also said that pre-viability, a woman, the state can't infringe unless it creates, some kind of an undue hardship. So now with those on the line, John Roberts is saying, we should just look at this. They had oral argument. We should only rule on whether it should be 15 weeks or not. Some of the more conservative justices, Alito, Thomas, and Gorsuch, say it should be totally overruled. The sort of X factor, according to a lot of experts, is Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett. So we don't know how they're going to rule, but that will come out in June. So when that comes out,
date to watch.
Correct. That's when the Supreme Court ruling will come out. So that's why all of these states now are either implementing more restrictive abortion rights or expanding them. Because when the Supreme Court makes its ruling, if it overrules Roe and Casey, it's going to go to the states then. And it'll be a state's issue, and some of these states are essentially outlawing abortion altogether, and some, like Colorado, are going to preserve that right.
Just take out the present Supreme Court. How normal is it for the Supreme Court to reverse a Supreme Court decision?
Right. It's a great question, because what happens normally is a case goes to trial and then it'll go to the first level of appeals court. Well, they're bound to follow the Supreme Court. That's binding precedent. The Supreme Court doesn't necessarily have to follow itself, so it does reverse itself. John Roberts is very focused on precedent, but he's been Chief Justice since 2005, and they've reversed themselves many times, or several times, even since he's been there.
Well, it's certainly one of the most passionate issues that
Without
is,
question.
for the last 60, 70 years in America, and it is coming again. I have a feeling we'll be talking about this further with you, Whitney. So
Yes.
it's good to see you.
Good to see you, and I'll be happy to come back.
We'll see you then.
All right.